channel.
Hey, I'm T.A. Charlie, and welcome to The Road to Concord with Professor Joe Bakanovic. Homeroom is on Rumble. You just go to Rumble and search the channels for The Road to Concord. It's one word. When you find it, you go ahead and you click follow. It might mean you got to set up an account, but it's fast, it's easy, it's free. I did it, you can do it. For those technologically challenged members of the class, you can also catch us on Facebook and YouTube. After the show, it's uploaded to Podbean, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and BitChute. Just look for The Road to Concord. You can go to the blog page, that's theroadtoconcord.com. That's where you'll find all your show notes, study notes, and handouts for the class. The phone is working. If you don't know how to call in, email us and we'll think about it. Finally, you can email a professor at joe@theroadtoconcord.com. He's a little slow, but he'll eventually get around to emailing you back. This show is currently mainly listener-sponsored. If you are interested in advertising your business on the show, please email us. With that said, we ask for your participation on a value-for-value basis. If you find our show of value to you, then you provide an equivalent portion of your labor and treasure through the donate link on the Road to Concord blog page, the show description on Rumble, and in the comments on the other streams. And thank you to all of you who have and will support this show.
Good morning. Welcome to The Road to Concord. I am your host, Joe Bakanovic, and today's date is Monday, the 2nd of March, 2026. And I'm in a bit of a mood, and it's got nothing to do with today's subject. We're going to be talking about the attacks on Iran here. I'll hold this to the second half of the show. Second half of the show, after the bottom of the hour break, second half of the show will probably be more on a personal side. So it'll be aimed at those who are long-term classmates, audience members. For now, Iran. I'm not watching the news reports, brothers and sisters. I don't really care about this in a earthly, corporeal sense, the political sense. I'm looking at other things, although I do have a few questions. Let's start with this one. I hear tell, like I said, I haven't been reading the reports, but I hear tell the Trump administration is claiming they're doing everything right with this war. Okay. Did we declare war on Iran? To the best of my knowledge, no, we didn't. And to what extent did we have a hand in killing the leaders of Iran? Because that's actually a violation of U.S. law. You cannot do that unless you declare war first, which is why we called Gaddafi before we bombed Libya back under Reagan. We bombed his house, and this is why he lost his daughter, because he wasn't able to get anybody out of there but himself. They called him like just a few minutes before the bombs fell on him. They did that so that the Democrats wouldn't be able to impeach Reagan for violating the law. So if we had a hand in killing Khomeini, the Ayatollah, then how is it that the Trump administration is claiming to be following the law? I don't understand. So that's a question somebody might need to explain to me. I'm also being told that this isn't about regime change, according to Hegseth or whatever. Like I said, this is secondhand. I admit, I got my little paw in the air. I'm not watching this. But I've been told by people I trust that have been watching the news. So there's something to this. Well, this isn't about regime change. Although I have seen the stories of Trump telling the Iranian people to overthrow their government. So that's regime change. So I don't understand. If Obama were doing things like this, then the right would be all over him for it and up in arms. So why aren't we up in arms over this now? And I know Sailor Son is saying, well, it's because it's for freedom. So that's okay. That's a good thing. Well, the left wants to give us socialism for, the poor. That's a good thing. So that makes it right. Okay. All I see, folks, is that we have become trained monkeys. Team blue and team red. Heck, we can't even. Have you ever. When's the last time you actually read George Orwell's book, 1984? Did you ever read it? How well do you remember it? In that book, the people have what's called a 5-minute hate. There are 3 great forces in the world. I don't remember their names, but just think Europe, Asia, the United States. And they're always at war with each other, but 2 against 1, always. And they always switch sides in the middle of the night. So the people we hated yesterday are our allies today, and we hate our allies from yesterday. And the people never stop to think about it. It's like the blue and the red. Back in my day, when I was growing up in high school, the Republicans were blue. Democrats were red. That got switched after somewhere about the time of George H.W. Bush and Bill Clinton. Why? Well, I understand spiritually why the colors were switched, but the point here is we've been trained to fight on a color of a team, not for principle. It's just as long as our team's jersey color wins. And anymore, the colors are purple. Say, well, those are just rhinos, Joe. No, they're Republicans. They're Republicans. You got Republicans running who are flat out saying, I'm running so I can destroy the Republican Party from within. And the Republican Party won't kick them out, even though I think it's Arizona or somewhere in New Mexico, one of those states, they just did. They kicked a candidate out of their party. A judge said, you don't represent the Republican Party. We're kicking you out. Well, why don't they do that to the candidates? This is all carefully orchestrated, folks. We're puppets, and there's a marionette master we're marionettes. There's a puppet master somewhere in the world. So here's another question for you. Do y'all remember in Trump's first term? I can't remember who it was, but some Republican tried to goad him into attacking Iran. Say there was a drone strike on this ship and blah, 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 blah. And we came within a couple of hours of supposedly, according to the news reports back then, of attacking Iran because of this deep stater that was trying to manipulate and force Trump's hand. And Trump would have nothing of it. In his first term, Trump didn't attack anybody. This term, not only are we attacking Iran, we're attacking just about everybody in the world that Trump claims not to like. We're going after Venezuela. We're talking about going after Iceland or Greenland or whatever the heck that is. He's even talking about taking Cuba by force. Did you see that one? Why the switch? Why the change? Eisenhower warned us in his farewell address that there's a military-industrial complex. And it just that's an imperialistic colonization type attitude that is antithetical and in opposition to the founding spirit of this nation. And it's taken over. One of the most decorated soldiers in the history of this country, Smedley Butler. He was a Marine Corps 2-star general, 2 medals of honor, and he lived. He wrote a book called War is a Racket. And he pretty much said that the whole time he served, he was in service to rich, powerful interests that operated from behind the scenes. And he realized that all his men had fought and bled for something other than ideal and principle. So he pretty much said phooey on all of it, said that I'd always thought that when I got out of the service, I realized it was true. What he was saying is he had sensed the matrix. So when and where did this change with Trump? Or did it? Has this just been a long play? Like I have been openly speculating about Trump being a Manchurian candidate for the right. I know Obama was. I have gotten myself in trouble with Trump supporters since he came down that escalator years ago. I've also seen people speculating that what's going on right now is a brilliant 4D chess game to take out China and Russia and OPEC's power structure. It took Venezuela. Between Venezuela and the U.S., oil is no longer, under the control of Islam in Russia. I don't know. That might be true. And I could see how Trump, being a businessman the way he is, I could see him doing something like that, but I don't see him doing it I don't think this attack on Iran is that for that reason. I think that there's a rearranging of the world power structure going on right now. We can see it. It's kind of hard not to see it. Y'all do realize that this is the very first time the United States and Israel have fought side by side together in the field. We'll come back to that. But I think what we've got here is a really good distraction from domestic politics. We still haven't handled Epstein. Bondi said, well, if I put out the whole Epstein list, the whole system will fall apart. Well, I don't like George Takei, but I did like the character of Sulu. And he's got one line in the Star Trek lore that I really love. Fly apart, then. Damn the torpedoes. Full steam ahead. Do what's right. Whatever the consequences may be. If our entire system burns to the ground because of the truth, then it deserves to be burnt to the ground. And everybody, and I mean everybody in the way. If you're guilty of pedophilia, of sex racketeering, sex marketing, sex slavery, especially if you're guilty of murder in connection to this, I don't want to give you a trial. You show me evidence of it, I'll put you on the wall, pull the trigger my dang self. And I'll sleep just fine at night. But I have a question. You have riots in various parts of this world, especially in Europe, because of the rape gangs that are roaming their streets. Islam. It's Islam, folks. Well, no, Joe, it's Ethiopians and these people, immigrants, and those Muslims. Islam. So they'll get in the streets and demand a change and threaten the government physically because their women are being raped and sexually assaulted. But this country remains quiet because the children are being sexually assaulted and we don't care. And I have to wonder why. I keep hearing because lawlessness increases, the love of others, love of many will grow cold. In other words, we don't care anymore. Our love, well, you know what? That's a bad thing too. Because if your love grows cold, that's your love for the Father and Son as well. Because, your love is your obedience. I sure wish, Charlie, that the scriptures told me to take care of helpless women and helpless children. Those who don't have a father or women who don't have a husband or something like that.
You mean like the widows and fatherless?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't it a good thing that scripture doesn't say we should do that?
No, that we don't have to worry about that because, we'll always have the poor with us. So, we don't need to worry about it. It's
being facetious, folks, because that is one of the commandments in the scriptures.
We just need to love Jesus.
Yeah.
And everything's okay.
Paul, I think it was Paul who led the attack against the church in Jerusalem because they were not taking care of the Gentile widows and orphans. So, yeah, that was a big thing between Paul and Peter, if I'm not mistaken. That's one of the things. We're not the country I always thought we were. We're not the people I thought we were. And that's going to That's going to be part of what's... I've got something going on in my own world that comes down to that right there. Even Yahweh's people are not the people I thought they were. And I'm watching, seeing what our country's doing. I think it's a distraction from Epstein, from voter fraud. That has now been proven. If you've been paying attention in the right places, all 6 of those states that shut down and then retabulated their votes, and oh, wow, look, Biden won. All 6 cheated. That was systemic election fraud, not voter fraud. Election being when you attack the system and rig the system. Voter fraud is when you rig a specific vote. Both happened on a massive scale in 2020, which is why January 6th was orchestrated. And I do mean that was a false flag, wag the dog attack against the United States people. And it should have resulted in some people dancing on the end of a rope. A lot of people. But we won't do anything about it. Just as long as my sports flow freely, my video games, my pornography, nobody gets in the way of my Facebook. How many times have you gone down the road lately and seen somebody driving down the road on their phone? That's depraved indifference in my book. That's like driving down the road while you're drinking alcohol. And I don't mean beer, I mean tequila shots, banging them back as fast as you can pour them while you're driving. We don't care anymore. So we have this distraction in Iran. Is anybody paying attention to what's going on with China and Taiwan? Does that matter to anybody? I don't think it does. The Southeast, Pacific Rim rather, Southeast Asia. Yes, Ellerson, give them cake and circuses. They'll never revolt. We have taught our masters well. Islam. That's where my mind has been lately. Islam. Sunni and Shia. The West is so ignorant of this religion, what it believes, what it teaches. There's no such thing as radical Muslims. Those are the jihadis. Those are the radicals. No. I read the Quran. I read Muhammad's official biography. I've read the book that they get Sharia law from, and I've read hundreds of pages of the Hadith, the sayings and customs of Muhammad, kind of like the New Testament. The Shia Islam is following Muhammad's example. That would be like a fundamentalist Christian who actually tries to live the exact same way that Jesus lived. That's what they're doing. They have a slightly different prophetic eschatology than the Sunnis. That's a split within the religion, kind of like Catholic and Protestant, Sunni and Shia. They trace each other by bloodlines, but they don't mix. It's almost like iron and clay, like toes on a foot. And there are 10 early caliphs after Muhammad. That makes 11. And the fourth caliph was a child. He was the first one with blood lineage directly back to Muhammad. And he was a teenager. And he said the first 3 caliphs never existed. Pulled them up by their roots and did away with them. Now, I'm not saying he's the little horn that speaks blasphemy. But I'm saying that the pattern is right there. So you only need one more caliph to have 12. That's the 12th Imam. In some Islamic circles, they call him Isa. Well, that can't possibly be his name. Although that's an Aramaic version of, I think it's Isus in Greek. The guy is Jesus. Yeah. Jesus is in Islamic lore, and he's the one that's going to come back and tell the Jews and the Christians that y'all had it wrong, and he's going to kill them, the ones that don't convert to Islam. And then he's going to hand everything back over to Muhammad and Allah, because he's not really anything more than a prophet, according to Islam. But in the Shia lore, they're going to destroy Mecca because they consider the Sunnis apostates. So they'll destroy Mecca first, and then they'll go after Jerusalem and the Jews and the Christians. And I've tried to tell people back in 2012 or whatever, the Arab Spring, when you saw all those men on horseback riding in the desert with black flags. Those were the black flags of Khorasan. That's a precursor to the return of the Mahdi, the 12th Imam. Mahdi, the 12th Imam. He's also called, in their tongue, Muad'Dim. Yes, that name from the movie Dune. The movie finally showed it clearly to me. I had never read the book. I went back and read the book after this latest update, and I realized this is Islamic. I read the book, and oh boy, in the book, you cannot miss it. It glorifies Islam. And the main character in Dune, Paul Atreides, is the Muad'Dim. He's the 12th Imam. He's an Islamic hero. He's their Christ. He's our Antichrist. What's going on right now in the Middle East is the very first time that the greater Satan and the lesser Satan, the United States and Israel, are attacking Iran. Well, what is Iran? That's the heart of Babylon. They're in the heart of that ancient spiritual enemy of Yahweh's people, Tower of Babel. Islam is a global governance. It's a theocratic government. It's fascistic in nature. And it's global without borders, just like the kingdom of Yahweh is global without borders. And what the kingdom of Yahweh says is good, Islam says is bad. And what the kingdom of Yahweh says is bad, Islam says is good, for the most part. There are a few small areas where they agree, like against homosexuality, et cetera, et cetera. But Islam does teach things like it's okay to marry a 6-year-old girl, but you can't go into her until she turns 9. You should read the hadith about that young Aisha, I think is her name, Muhammad's youngest bride. She was 6 when he married her, consummated their marriage. In other words, he raped her when she was 9 on her 9th birthday. And in the hadith, she recounts how some of Muhammad's other wives and concubines bathed her and got her all pretty and got her ready and told her what to do and how to do it when she goes into the prophet. I'm sorry, but the perversion level in that just creeps me out. Because he also had a female infant crawling around his feet right before he died. He's a 60-something-year-old man when he took that poor 9-year-old girl and raped her. But right about that time in his life, he's around 60. There's this infant in his feet, and he said, if she manages to survive, I'll marry her when she grows up. And his leaders had a saying for him, said that camel's nose knows no bounds, meaning that he took whoever he wanted. He was a very good Mormon, precursor to the Mormons. Sorry, if you're a Mormon, your faith has more in common with Islam than it does with the Way. So I'm looking at what's going on in the Middle East, and I can't help but think, well, there was a planetary alignment a couple days ago, February 28th. It's rare. It was in the ecliptic, so it's supposed to be telling me something, but I've lost touch with that ancient knowledge. I don't know how to read that alignment. I don't know what it means, because each planet stands for something, and we're not talking about the zodiac like when you're calling up for your horoscope. We're talking about like each planet stood for something. It not gods, but like Jupiter's the king planet. So it talks about kings, et cetera, et cetera. and they were in different constellations. So I don't know what that meant, but I know that tomorrow there's a blood moon that'll be visible over Jerusalem, and it's going to fall on the historic date of when Israel was freed from what is now Iran. I don't think these are accidents. And then this is happening in 2026. 7 years from now, 2033, we're going to have another blood moon tetrad, one of the two. And then I can't remember what it was. Charlie was looking some of this up. There's something else that's going to happen a year or two later, a solar eclipse, I think. That's 7 years, folks. Now, I don't believe the Tim LaHaye Left Behind version of eschatology about how you're going to have a 7-year peace and a break in the middle of it and everything else. But I do remember the Battle of Gog and Magog, which is all of Israel fighting against what the names of the people in Ezekiel. They are all Muslims today. All of them. Every one. And the colors of the horses those are the colors of Islam. White, black, red, green. And they're going to fight again, in the Battle of Gog and Magog. There's going to be a fight, nuclear in exchange, I believe. The Battle of Gog and Magog and the description in Zechariah gives really good reasons to believe that you might actually be looking at a nuclear exchange. That could be us reading modern understanding into an ancient text. That's entirely possible. It could also be that this is a case of where both understandings work concurrently at the same time for two different audiences on purpose, designed that way. Another indication that the scriptures are the work of a transcendent hand. So if you're going to have that war and Gog and Magog, I've never understood how this happens, because there's 7 years after that of relative peace where Yahweh's people feed off of the remnant of what is left after the battle, the pickings of the bones. Depending on how bad this battle gets, that could be a case of we turn the whole Middle East into a Venezuela, where it now becomes the property or vassal state of the United States in Israel. Could. I'm not saying it is. Don't get me wrong. But I'm watching. And I'm watching Yahweh's people on different supposed Messianic sites on the internet. Charlie, join me, please, brother. I know you follow some of these sites, Messianic sites and everything. Mm-hmm. Have you seen anybody mentioning the possible alignment of the astrological signs now, the astrological signs coming up in 2033, the 7-year period after the Battle of Gog and Magog? And have you seen anybody talking about that?
I have not.
Seasonal signs?
I have not.
Where's the church?
Asleep. Oh, but don't worry. Blood moons and eclipses don't mean anything.
No.
They
Be
mean
nice.
nothing
Be
in the
nice.
Bible.
Be nice.
Well, they don't.
He's reacting to something that he's as irked as I am this morning.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Be nice. There are people who watch this show who we're all friends.
Yes.
We're all brothers and sisters.
Okay. I'll be nice.
If somebody's got to be ugly, you leave that to me. I don't care if they don't like me. That's just.
I just don't understand.
Ask Marianne. That's status quo for me. The world hasn't liked me since I was a child, and I really didn't give a rip.
The only question I will ask is, what does it mean in the Bible when it says the moon will turn to blood and the sun will be darkened? It says that multiple times, does it not?
And that has happened multiple times since 2020.
And what are we supposed to? Are we not supposed to look for that as a physical sign? It's just
only if you're doing what the Messiah told you.
I don't know.
Only if you're doing it. You remember in Genesis where it says that all those things in the sky are meant for signs.
Signs. Yeah. Oh, signs. Yes.
And seasons.
And seasons. Yes.
Well, when the Messiah said that you should be able to read the season, he meant, whether it's spring, winter, or fall, right?
Well, and what's going to happen. I mean, he actually told them, you should be able to tell what's going on right now by just looking at what's going on in the world. He was actually condemning the Pharisees for not seeing these
Yes.
things.
Folks, the point here is this one. If you know Islam, whether you see it or not, whether the church in the West sees it or not, is irrelevant.
Doesn't matter.
They see this as an indication that their Mahdi is coming out of the well and that he's about to break onto the world stage. They see this as their redemption drawing nigh. And where we won't risk life, limb, or blood for our faith, they'll die for it.
Yeah, yeah. Death means, in fact, death is praised in their religion. It's the exact opposite of Yahweh's.
Yeah, you can bind Allah. If you die in jihad, he must let you into heaven.
Yes, you must. Oh, let me get this call on the line.
All right. Charlie's going to answer the phone and screen it for us real quick, folks. We'll take the phone call. We'll go to the break. When we come back, we'll give you a little bit more insight into what's been bugging us this morning. Let's see. He's got to hook it all up. Just give him a minute there, folks. So, yeah, I've been watching with a prophetic eye toward Islam. And I know a little bit more than the average Westerner on this, and it's got me concerned. Who's on the phone, Charlie?
We've got Aaron. Go ahead, Aaron.
Hey, Sailor Son. What's up, brother?
How's my favorite crayon eater doing this morning?
I'm all right. How's my favorite zealot?
Well, can't get nobody to listen, so I just turned it all off a little bit. I just listen to everybody else talk and go, y'all gotta get y'all bunch of idiots. But no, what I always was hearing, kind of in the church about the moon turning to blood and the sun being dark, that was going to be just so obvious.
It was.
Instead of it being, well, yeah, it's obvious if you're looking for it, but it's not so obvious. You just think it's things that happen out there. A clinky dinks, but it ain't. I better like where I'm going to be going the wrong way. Hold on.
We're going to get Sailor Son into a head-on collision live on the air.
Well, I'm going to pick up my grandson at the school because his grandmama died here this past week, and he's kind of ain't dealing with it too good.
Condolences, brother. Condolences.
Yeah, well, it's just a fact of life, and
well, hey, now look.
I wasn't taught that early when I wasn't taught about it being a fact of life when I was his age either. I didn't take my grandmama dying either too well, but I know it's a fact of life now. But anyway, that's what the church kind of teaches. That blood moon and the sun becoming sackcloth. Oh, that's just going to be, it's going to happen at one time instead of over periods of time. And we're not looking for it.
That's a prophetic sign. It's not a once in a lifetime goalpost, because this has happened repeatedly over and over. And it happens. Yes. And it happens in conjunction with major historic events in the life, the physical life and history of Yahweh's people. So,
that's
and
right.
the world.
Yeah, exactly. It usually precedes something.
Yes.
That's going to happen.
Yes.
Or it could happen at the same time, something like that. And it's usually not good.
Oh no, they're warnings.
They're not good. They're not good. Yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to comment there on that and say that's what I've often heard in the church is, the sky's gonna get dark and the moon ain't gonna shine. It's gonna be blood. No. That's that's prophesied to happen over and over and over and over and over is what it means.
Yeah, and there's a dualistic nature to that prophecy. It'll happen in the physical, but it also means that the church, which is the moon, the church reflects the brightness of the sun, being the Messiah. The church is going to turn sinful, be an apostate, and the sun, the gospel message, will go dark. We won't hear that message anymore. So that's a dualistic message in that prophecy. So
that's right.
All right. Well, look, before I let you go, if you get in a wreck because you're talking to me, I'm not going to let you go on that, you army doggy. I'm going to use
What's
that as
that?
proof that, well, if you're not coordinated enough to talk on the radio and drive at the same time without wrecking.
I hear you. I hear you. All right, well, y'all keep on. Let's go in here and get this youngin.
All right. Take care. Stay safe, brother.
We'll see you, brother.
All right. All right, Charlie, let's go to the bottom of the hour break. When we come back, you and I can talk about what's got us irked without talking about it. We'll see you in 3 minutes, folks. Okay, welcome back, folks. Now, this next half hour, if we go that long, is more of on a personal note from your professor and your TA, Charlie. If you're a long-term classmate, this might be of interest to you. If not, hey, you're excused from class. Go chase butterflies.
But welcome to all our new listeners here, because we've got a plethora of people watching us on X.
And they were watching because they wanted to hear about Iran, I'm pretty sure. Oh, by the way, one of the stories I did check out in the middle of the break, apparently we're shooting down our own F-15s.
Say what?
3 F-15Es fell to friendly fire. Plus, amazingly, for some reason or another, the Iron Dome is not working.
Yeah, I know. My Hebrew teacher showed me a picture of one of the rockets that fell in the north, and I mean, it was wholly intact, so it did not get.
So they're deploying the first ground-based laser anti-aircraft system, first time in history. You know, that laser system that doesn't exist for setting fires from space?
Right. Yeah.
Anyhow, that's more conspiracy theory. So if you tuned in to listen to us talk about Iran, apologies. I've said what I'm going to say about Iran. Where I'm going to go next is kind of actually related in a scriptural way. This show is biblically based worldview. I told Charlie before the show that when we got to this section of the show, he was supposed to be there to keep me in check, but I got a feeling it's going to have to go the other way around, which means we're in a sorry state of
We're in
affairs.
horrible. Yeah, yeah.
You're expecting me to be the grown up in the house when I'm upset. That's
No.
Marianne right now is
Sorry.
reaching for the popcorn.
Yeah.
All right. So Wednesday show, we're going to, for 1 hour, we're going to teach Jeremiah. It's going to be, we're going to go to a break at the top of the hour. And when we're going to come back and we're going to start teaching on Ezekiel's wheels. And what's that got to do with anything? Oh, trust me, it has a lot to do with what's going on right now in the Middle East, even. If you understand Ezekiel's vision the way I do, it's not a flying saucer, it's not a spaceship. Culturally, in context, I know exactly what Ezekiel saw. If you're looking at this culturally, yes, Charlie, we know what he saw, right?
Yes.
It saw the heavenly throne of Yahweh.
It's a throne room of
Creator.
Yahweh. Yes.
Yeah. But there's more to it. At least I believe there is. And I did something on Saturday, the Sabbath, with our congregation I probably shouldn't have done. It wasn't that I taught something I shouldn't have taught. It was that I expected more out of my congregation than maybe I should have expected. And I set myself up for disappointment. It's my fault, not theirs. And this is something that Charlie has learned to help me deal with. A lot of people accuse him of being a fanboy. He's not. He tests me. And I've come to rely on him doing that. He can't do his job around here if he doesn't test me with a little bit of skepticism. And this is going to relate to that show that'll never be repeated or mentioned. I ran into one of my problems. Charlie, you've been working through what we're going to be teaching in the bonus hour on Wednesday. You've been working through it with me. Yes?
Yes.
A little complicated?
Complicated does not explain it. I used the word in our pre-show is awesome.
Yes, it is awesome. Oh my gosh.
As in, as in just
it's
beyond,
awesome.
Beyond
it's
belief.
awesome.
Yawesome. Yes.
Yes, it's awesome.
Yes. The complexity of this stuff is it's beyond me mathematically. I mean, I can understand some of the concepts.
In the pre-show, Charlie bumped into me doing the math, following the math.
Yeah. He sent me some equations that I looked at and I'm like, yeah, I'm done.
Because I was trying to test myself. I wanted to make sure that what I was seeing. Now, here's the thing I want to ask you, Charlie. As we walk through this, you've had questions. Have I been able to explain every one of them to you?
Yes.
I even demonstrated using the globe, a couple of them, didn't I?
Yeah. In one of them, I understood it, but until I saw one of your pictures that you used, then it finally clicked in my mind. I'm like, I understand that because I used to play with tops as a kid. So
right.
I understand the gyroscopic in the way of you. Yeah.
Now this is important to what's going on. And I'm trying hard to do this in as humble a way as I can without making it sound the way I know it's going to sound. It's a very complicated subject we're dealing with here. And we're dealing with extremely complicated geometry. And yeah. I'm not perfectly expert on this, but I'm better than most. And to this point, Charlie, have you seen any sign that I do not understand what we're doing?
No, you understand it better than I do because you can actually do differential calculus. I made it through basic calculus, then I was done.
Yeah, DE,
differential calculus.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
But now, here's what I'm trying to get at. And this is the point I've got a real problem with for y'all, the audience. I see things that I can prove. I know they're there because I can explain why and how. But I can't always do it in a way that y'all see it. So I look like the idiot. That guy's just imagining things. No, I'm not. Now, this has happened to Charlie several times since he's met me, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. And what happens as I walk you through it slowly and you go test me every time? What do you generally?
Then I usually start to understand.
Right.
But here's the problem.
Well, real quick, before you explain that, what have I really been changing for you? Has it been convincing you to see it my way, or have I been trying to teach you to look at the world through the eyes of an ancient Torah observant Hebrew?
Oh, yeah, absolutely that.
That's all I'm doing.
So you've got to, here's the problem that we have is many of us have our premises for our worldview, okay,
Wrong.
that we've had for a long, long time. But the problem is those premises are faulty. That's what happened to me in Mormonism. I had premises upon which I was building my faith, and I thought I had it, and I was locked in, and everything made sense, and it did. There was good logic with that, but the problem is my underlying premises were false. And because if you build on false premises, everything else you build is just a house of cards. There's no foundation there. It's just going to collapse because your foundation is faulty. You have a bad foundation. You can't build on that. You've got to raise it. You got to take everything down to the just plain dirt and rebuild that foundation properly. And that's what we're facing here. And how you get people to change their foundation, good luck with that. I think that's where we've got to rely on Yahweh, and he's got to inspire the people to do that. And that's something that I have to, this kind of me boasting in a way, but it's boasting in Yahweh really, is that I am so grateful to Yahweh that he's allowed me to be such that when I see that my premises were wrong, it's like, oh, I got to change. My premises, okay, I got to stop. I got to redo, wipe this all out, start over.
And
not everybody can do that.
Right. And I'm running into somebody's, a small group of people who, actually a lot more people in my whole world, not just our immediate, but also online and everything else. When they run into something that challenges them to test what they think they know, the first thing they do is, instead of looking what they're presented with, instead of testing it, they go look for reasons it's got to be wrong. That's the first thing they do. And now this is something that Charlie has learned with me, studying with me. One of the first things I do is go directly to the source that I think is wrong and study their argument.
Yeah.
I need to understand it before I can go look at my position correctly, because I might be wrong. I might be the one who's wrong. In this case, we're dealing with a spiritual matter, but it's a spiritual, earthly, worldly matter. It's the whole of creation. And it's
Yahweh's footstool is what we're talking about.
It's something Charlie's been trying to get me to do for a while now, and I've been putting it off. And that's because it wasn't time. Yahweh's timing, not mine. So I finally did it. Boy, did I find something beautiful. And I'll start explaining it to you in the second hour on Wednesday. And it is just, if you understand complexity and mathematics at all, this is gorgeous. This is a thing of beauty to behold, man. I mean, it's beautiful. And if you were ever this whole world is just a matter of happenstance. Oh, I'm going to blow that out of the water, Jack.
Yeah, you're done.
Just forget it. I can, this is an apologetics, logical, inductive proof that the creator is real. Oh, wow. Wait till you see what we're going to show you.
Absolutely.
But it was all, and this is where I get into trouble. In my presentation, I have a slide that says, hey, I'm guided by sola scriptura. I'll go outside of scripture, but scripture's the compass. Everything has to be brought back and tested against scripture. And I put a little definition in there. And now I realize I've got to actually get even more simplistic than that. And me being a recovering narcissist, I think that's insulting to my audience. If I have to go back and say, hey, look, little field mouse, when I tell you I'm sola scriptura, I'm telling you that I am taking everything I find outside the Bible to the Bible. And if I cannot find a word, passage, a verse, or at least the concept supporting the extra biblical material, if I can't find something, at least in the Bible, that supports that, I don't hold it in the equation. I let that variable go. The Bible's my compass. So I did some work. I presented stuff that's from outside the scripture and inside the scriptures. I found scriptures that absolutely slam dunk. Boom, there it is. 2 witnesses. It's in the scripture. And the first thing that happened is I have other brothers and sisters that tell me you're wrong. And then they can entirely proceed to tell me two things. One, that the material I'm using from outside of the scriptures is wrong. And two, that I'm not reasoning biblically. And in no case, nowhere, do they ever present me anything from the written word of Yahweh. Not once. It's all man. And this morning I went back to check my math again for like the 5th or 6th or 7th umpteen time. And again, no scripture from the people who were telling me I'm wrong. And then when they said that some of the material I presented was wrong, and they gave me the source, they said, go check NASA. I did. I wasn't the one wrong. They are. NASA's own data supports what I presented. It's right there. I can show them. Here to here, here to here, here to here. So that's a willing ignorance. And you have one classmate here right now. She's listening from Tallahassee. She will tell you right now. If you decide to be ignorant, and by that I don't mean stupid, I mean uneducated. If you're willfully uneducated, you don't want to hear and learn and understand the truth, I have no sympathy for you and no patience. And I can get vicious in the way I handle those people, and I'm trying not to do that. That's not a good witness. It's not the way I'm supposed to be. It makes me an ineffective teacher. But I don't know how to deal with this other than to wash my hands and walk away from these type of people, and I'm not supposed to do that either. So this is why I need people like Charlie in my life. Because although he's a little cranky about this too, he at least has a nice side to him.
I don't know right now, but
Your turn, Charlie.
well,
You can say it, but don't say it.
I'll be as kind as I can, but I don't. Some of the things that were said in rebuttal to this flatly floored me, because they were saying that scripture doesn't say what it says.
It's rebellious.
And that bothers me real bad, because even though the scriptures might not say that, well, what's a good example? We can talk about just has to do with calendar issues. Never mentions the equinox in the scriptures.
That word's not in the Bible.
There is a word that some people associate with equinox in there, but it's not necessarily.
But even BDB doesn't know that that's what it means.
Well, in BDB, some people say that that's what it means, but there's not enough support to conclusively say.
So BDB is an honest source that says we're not sure about this.
Right. But there is a scripture that just my wife and I were just reading our daily scripture stuff like we usually do, and came across Psalms 104. I forget exactly. I think it's 13, maybe. It's in that chapter that says that the Moedim, the appointed times of Yahweh, are to be determined by the moon.
Yeah, the seasons are set by the moon.
It says that.
So we've got people who insist that we set it by the sun. And
so it's like, okay, are we going to follow what the word says, or are we going to do something that's sola scriptura? It's outside the scriptures, but there's no,
Now, real quick, folks,
that's where I get frustrated.
Now,
because
just a second, Charles. I'll hand it back over to you, brother. But so that you understand, this isn't just biblical. I'm upset because we won't declare war before we attack another country. We commit an act of war. We won't declare war. I'm upset because we will not hold our public officials, who should be more accountable, not less accountable. We won't hold them accountable to the law. Yep. We will not, as a people, rise up, grab our muskets, and go tell them, you're going to do it right, or we're going to take care of it for you. We won't do what's right. That upsets me just as much. Or you go to the Constitution, where the founders said, you will interpret this law according to the way we intended it. If you want to change its intention, you have to amend it. We won't do that. I have a problem with this. I have a real problem with this. I do not like this type of willful injustice, whether it be to our fellow man, to our laws, or to the great judge, creator, and lawgiver of the universe. I hate this. And it makes my blood boil. And I don't know what to do with it, because I want to help people see and understand. But if you're not going to at least listen to what I'm presenting to you, and I understand in this case, we're dealing with something that a lot of people are not going to be able to understand. But because they can't see it, they'll tell me I'm wrong. Ooh, and I can work the math out on the chalkboard right in front of your face. Just because you can't follow it. I don't deal well with that. I don't. And when you start telling me that you don't, I once handed the Bible, I held the Bible out and I told the brother, I said, show me where it says this, it says that in this book. And he says, I don't care what it says in the book. Wolf. And when I have brothers and sisters telling me that they don't really, that the Bible doesn't say what it clearly says, like in this case, we were told that the blood moons and eclipses don't mean anything. That's exactly what Yeshua was asking the Pharisees. Can't you understand red sun in the morning, red sun at night? He expected them to understand how to read the signs in the sky. Charlie.
Yeah, this is frustrating, and you know we're going to do our best to put this together in a way that hopefully even the lowliest private will at least be able to catch the concepts, not necessarily understand the math. But
I'm going to explain it so Sailor Sun could have understood it when he was a fresh recruit in the Army.
We might be getting another call now.
He's still busy.
Yeah, but he's driving too. This could be dangerous.
He's got a grandchild in the car. He's not going to risk that.
Yeah. So, but
kidneys, man, there's a strategy here.
But we'll do the best, and I wish, you know, if someone has a rebuttal to this, you know, we always ask that you bring your rebuttals, which we do want, but you got to back up your argument too.
Yeah, all we're asking for you is show us somewhere, something we can test in the scriptures. Look, it comes down to this. I was literally told by a brother, the whole world did it this way. So why shouldn't Yahweh's people do it that way? The whole world had earthly kings. So I guess the Yahweh's people screamed for Saul. How well did that work out? And was Yahweh happy with that? That was a rejection of their heavenly king in favor of, I want to do it the way the rest of the world does it. Well, I see a reflection of that in the United States. Let's do it the way the Europeans do it. How well has that worked out for them? And now you want to follow them. Well, my mama used to tell me, you know, if your brother jumps off the cliff, are you going to do it too? Apparently the answer is yes.
Yeah.
So if you ever come on a show where I tell you that I'm dealing with something in the background and I seem edgy, irritable, I was reading online that a person cannot hold two concurrent ideas in their head at the same time. Charlie, is that true?
Well, for some people it's true.
Have you seen me do it?
Yeah.
And sometimes
you can't necessarily do it.
Well, sometimes you folks in the audience see me do it too. If I ever misspeak, a lot of times that's because I'm talking to you, but a word from the thought that's running in my head sneaks into what I'm saying. And you see the cross of the thought lines in my uttered speech. So that's what happens on those times. What you're seeing is a glimpse of I'm actually thinking two or more concurrent thoughts at a time. I keep pointing to her because Miss Boatwright goes back all the way to, geez, when did we run into each other? Rosenwald's 8th grade, 9th grade, 7th, 8th, 9th, somewhere there. She's known me a long time. She knows I can keep more than one thought in my head. She's one of my oldest friends. I've got another friend of mine who lives in Atlanta. He'll tell you that. He used to hate that because I'd be talking to somebody else and playing a game of chess with him at the same time. And I won most of the time. So, and then here we have, I appreciate this. JMW wades in. He says, yeah, he saw the presentation, found it fascinating. Oh, wait till you see the one that if you've been busy, JMW, we're going to do a second hour Wednesday. In the second hour, we're going to start with the presentation I was doing on our congregation. Only I'm breaking it down. It's going to turn into probably at least 6 1-hour shows because I'm going to have to teach this. So the most hard-headed of us and stiff-necked amongst us can at least see and understand it if they decide to. I can lead that camel to the water, but I can't make it drink. Well, the problem with that is, I told you Sergeant Bakanovic is present today, and Sergeant Bakanovic is saying, well, you can't do it with that attitude. So, like, you can't cure stupid, not with that attitude. My drill instructor cured stupid. I watched. So I just wanted to bring this up to you and let you know that sometimes what we're doing, 1980, it goes back about that far, Miss Boatwright. Sometimes what we do here has a personal cost. Because if you think this doesn't take something out of Charlie and I don't know how much it takes out of him. He's never really expressed that with. I wear those type of things on my sleeve. You see it. And it takes it. That's because I have to vent it. If I keep it in, I'm going to be like the Arctic tortoise. When the tortoise hits boiling point, you don't want to be in the room.
I can imagine.
Not unless you're Secret Squirrel and you can defend yourself from Bruce Lee, which, by the way, Secret Squirrel could have. Secret Squirrel couldn't have killed Bruce Lee, but he probably could have kept Bruce Lee from killing him. So unless you're Secret Squirrel, you don't want to be in the room when the tortoise explodes. Me, I just vent it, but it has a price. It costs to do this work for others. And today's one of those days where it is costing hard. And I've been criticized my whole life for sharing too much. Say it's a sign of weakness. You know what I've found over time? Those people who get to know me, they learn to trust me because they learn that I tell them the truth and I don't hide or deceive it from them. It's fire's hot, water's wet. And you always know where you stand with me. I'll tell you. And I rattle. I rattle like a snake before I bite. And that's why I always know that the people who are surprised when I bite them, they might claim they know me, but they don't. Because it wouldn't have been a surprise. Or shouldn't have been. And right now, I've got a group of believers. They're friends. They don't hear that rattle in full mode. And they're going to be surprised when they get bit. Because it's coming if this keeps up. It's coming. All right, real quick. Before I let Charlie have the final say and then get us out of here, I wish Natasha were with us. Charlie, she told me in a private chat that there was a parashah yesterday that lines up with Israel's history with Babylon and coming out of Babylon. And that wouldn't have any coincidence with what happened yesterday either, would it?
We're right at the midst of Purim right now. Yes.
Yeah, and that was part of the parashah, the reading.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's the special reading for Purim. Yes.
Purim. Yeah. So, and she was reading it. And she's like, this reading lines up with the attack on Iran.
Mm-hmm. Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see there.
These are not the droids you're looking for. Move along.
Yeah. All right, Charlie. Before I sign us out of here, you got any final thoughts?
No, other than...
Do you ever regret working with me? Be honest.
No, I don't regret it. Sometimes it's not easy, but and you challenge me a lot, but what we're facing here, more than anything, it saddens me. That's what really is, because that's what, and because I don't know how to resolve this, because
I
we-
do,
we-
but
we
I
can
don't
only-
like the passage. Let the dead bury the dead.
Well, yeah, and that may be the only way we can do it, and just turn it over to Yahweh and let Him deal with it, because, like we talked about before, that we can teach, but it's only Yahweh that can open hearts to receive the truth. So
So I will be doing this. Anything else, Charlie? Are we
I think that's it for
All right.
Yep.
tomorrow? More on Genesis, and then Wednesday, Jeremiah. Extra hour on Wednesday. We're going to start on Ezekiel's vision. What did he see? And boy, I'm going to do this one. It'll probably be okay for each and every one of you. For the bulk of you, you'll probably be all right with it. For me, it's going to be difficult to teach because I can't even say this without sounding like a jackwagon. It's stupid simple to me. And I don't mean stupid as in you're dumb. I mean, it's elementary. It's like, geez, how can you not see that fire's hot and water's wet? And I have got to remember that I'm broken. I don't see the world the way everybody else does. I see things other people have to work at. They just come to me. I'm not bragging. This is a curse. Trust me, it's a curse. But it had to be this way so that I could become the tool in the master's hands that he needed me to be. And I work right now, in this point in my life, I am working exactly the way he wants me to work. I know that. I can see it. It's almost like I'm sitting in an outer body of experience, looking in, watching what's happening. So I will start that Wednesday, and we'll go until somebody in this classroom screams, ouch, my head hurts. It won't take long. We'll do it in little bites. But if you can stick with that teaching, oh, the beauty of what's in the sky above you and how it rings in the book of Romans and all throughout the scriptures. It'll even explain what Yeshua means when he says, I'll give to him who overcomes, I'll give you the morning star. It explains so much. That's why I lean into it. It knits the scriptural mosaic together without needing a hammer. I don't have to force anything, and it doesn't contradict a single thing in Yahweh's word. No, it harmonizes it, makes them all sing together. Wow, is it beautiful. I'll teach it slow, one chord at a time, as best I can. And then Thursday, we're back in the Bible amongst the myths, which, trust me, that if I hadn't gone back and reread that book, I wouldn't have done what I'm teaching in the extra hour Wednesday. I wouldn't have been able to see it. I had to see the difference between the continuous thinking and the transcendent thinking in order to understand what Ezekiel's seeing and why he's seeing it. Then Friday, we're back into the scepter and the birthright, which goes hand in hand with what's happening in the Middle East right now. All of this is tied together. And if I can find the time, we're going to probably start the Islam class soon too, maybe on next Thursday, maybe as soon as this Thursday. That has got to be taught to those who want to listen. The Western world has got to understand Islam on Muhammad's terms. If you do not know the beast, if you are unwilling to stare it in its face, then you can't deal with it. You won't know what to do with it, and it'll eat you. I'll do the best I can for those who have ears to hear and eyes to see. We thank you if you're here. It is my most sincere and fervent prayer that we're helping, and that if I'm doing harm, that Yahweh if necessary, strikes me dead. The last thing I want to do is harm any of you. But before that, the last thing I want to do is allow harm to come to you because I saw the danger and refused to sound the alarm. I would rather have to answer for the fact that you didn't understand me because I failed in explaining it than answer to the fact that I let you die because I was too afraid to sound the alarm. Both are scriptural doctrine. So I hope we're doing that here for you. This is not an easy classroom to sit in, and it is a classroom. I know it's not easy. I've walked the path you're walking. I wasn't born this way. It took me almost 60 years now to get here. It was painful. I'm trying hard to help others walk that path without having to stub their toe on as many rocks or falling into as many pits, have to climb your way back out as I've done along the way because I was stubborn and stupid and wanted to do it my way instead of his. To the extent that we succeed, praise Yahweh. To the extent we fail, blame me. But you're going to get out of it what you put into it as well. If you just listen for entertainment purposes, you're in the wrong place. I'm going to ask you to think. I'm going to demand it of you. And then I'm going to ask you to work through it and remember it. Keep pins in it. And then build off of it. We're not entertaining here. We're forming foundation stones upon which you can stand and get yourself up above the water level so that you don't drown in this world. These are spiritual, scriptural stones. And guess what? The Bible says some of those stones have eyes. The eyes of Yahweh, God, Elohim. What do you know? What the heck does that mean? You look at it from a ancient Near East Hebrew's perspective. Well, that's a simple meaning. That's easy. It's the wisdom and guidance of the Creator. He's all-knowing, all-powerful. He's everywhere at once. He has eyes everywhere. It's easy if you look at it from their perspective. It's kind of like the character in Platoon said. If you free your mind, your rear end will follow. So quit getting in your own way. That doesn't mean you're free from thinking and testing and making sure everything's right. It means get out of your own way. Look for the capital T truth, the transcendent truth, not the lies that we've been born into. And that's where we're trying to help others do. We love you. We thank you for being here and joining us. If you like what we're doing, please hit the like buttons. Make sure you subscribe, sign up, subscribe, hit the bells so that you're notified whenever we have a new show scheduled. More important now than ever, there will be a lot of additional shows coming, and they won't necessarily be on a routine schedule. Charlie's going to be teaching you about Hebrew soon. I'm going to be doing the shows on Ezekiel's wheels, put it the best way. And I'll be teaching about Islam soon. And we're going to still keep with the regular schedule throughout the spring that we have now for the book studies and everything. So if you're not subscribed and signed up, you're going to miss something. Till tomorrow, or until we see you again, y'all stay safe. Take care. Bye-bye.